Hi investigators, Mike Evans and Casey Pine here Friday afternoon, our weekly government, corporate and private investigator weekly news for the week ending the 5th of November 2021. How are you, Casey?
I am fantastic.
You've had a very busy week in regulatory compliance class with Alex and myself.
Yeah, it's
gonna be nice to get the program done today and have a spell, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We still have our assessments to do. That's fun.
Well, do mine too if you wouldn't mind on the week. Just copy and paste. Okay. G'day, Renee. Great to see you, Renee.
Hi, Renee.
That's our Executive Vice President, Renee, who's just been at our AirLap meeting this afternoon. And boy, has Renee got a lot of work to do after that. Good on you, Renee. It's great to see you. People, I'm going to start off today with our investigation vacancies for this week. Here we go. So this is the Facebook page you go to find private, government and corporate investigation jobs at the Australian Security Academy. These jobs are curated, so you can go there anytime you wish and see what's available now in investigations. So if you scroll down through it, you can see that iCare in New South Wales, that's the workers' compensation insurer, are looking for a complaints resolution advisor. Now, there could be complaints from clients, such as workplaces that pay workers' compensation insurance. There could be complaints from people who are insured and had injuries. So there's a whole range of areas that you might be dealing with iCare. So as an investigation professional, you are a complaints resolution professional as well. In Service New South Wales, they have multiple roles for fraud triage officers, and we have a lot of Australian Security Academy graduate students who do that in New South Wales for Service New South Wales, and they are studying their diploma so they can go up through the ranks and do other investigations. They're paying up to $109,000. So there's 3 positions available. You'll need a certificate for in government investigation for that role. That's available in New South Wales and was advertised yesterday. Peak Services, that's the local government RTO in Queensland, have advertised for a compliance officer for local government in Toowoomba. Now, with this job, you'll be basically part of the compliance section, water community department, and you'll be investigating and responding to customer requests, providing professional and technical advice, support in relation to compliance issues. So these might be building compliance, it might be animal compliance, so barking dogs, stray stock, abandoned vehicles. You're going to be doing all sorts of local laws work for the Toowoomba Council through Peak Services. Peak Services have got a bit of an issue with their RTO that teaches government investigations at the moment. I won't go into that today. Back into this bit. National Australia Bank want a lead digital fraud and anti-scam team member. So you'll be investigating digital fraud and scams on behalf of the National Australia Bank. People texting messages to clients and customers, inside job information given away there. So basically that's with the National Australia Bank. You won't need a licence for that. That's a government, that's a corporate position. You will need qualifications in investigation. Financial crime investigator is wanted at Suncorp. Suncorp are one of the biggest employers of investigators in Australia, and I've worked with many licensed private investigators and claims managers that have gone on to work for Suncorp or have left Suncorp and gone on to work somewhere else. So great opportunity in investigations there with Suncorp in Brisbane. Case officers at the Alley Group in Sydney, so a law firm there is seeking people to do some national security work. You'll find most of these jobs today on Seek as well. QBE after a corporate investigation analyst. Now, this is a great one. Coordinator of General Insurance at Succession Partners Proprietary Limited in Sydney. So general insurance is your home and contents, your home public liability, home arsons, stolen motor vehicles, that sort of thing. So if you've got experience in general insurance, there's a great opportunity waiting for you there at Succession Partners in Sydney. Crawford and Company in Brisbane, they're looking for entry-level loss adjusters. Now, you do not have to be a qualified loss adjuster at this level. They are capacity building for floods, cyclones and bushfires and heavy rain in Queensland, as they do each year at this time of year. So it's a great opportunity to enter insurance investigations there with the biggest loss adjusting firm in the world, Crawford and Company. So a great firm to work for. Investigations Coordinator, home and motor claims. This one's available in, I think that was in, hang on, I'll tell you where it was. Again, that's Succession Partners again, so same job. Clean Energy Regulator after investigators in Canberra. Again, that's compliance with the Clean Energy Regulator. NBN. Rio Tinto, I did that one last week. This is a beauty, this is a really good one. So APSG down in Victoria after 2 licensed factual investigators, or what they call in Victoria circumstance investigators. So great opportunity there with APSG if you are a licensed circumstance investigator in Victoria. MJM out of Sydney are looking for investigators all around Australia. So they've advertised on LinkedIn this week to get in touch with them. If you're a licensed investigator, you want to work from home doing video interviewing over the internet, MJM have work for you and they want to hear from you. You must have a license. You don't have a license, don't waste their time. All right, they're very busy people. If you've got your qualification and your license, if you're in Tasmania, if you're in South Australia, if you're in Brisbane, if you're in Queensland, if you're in Ayers Rock, they want to hear from you. They have work for you. You don't have to leave the comfort of your home office to do that work. So you'll be doing it, video interviewing over the internet, taking statements off claimants. Great opportunity with MJM. New South Wales the government are looking for a consumer protection investigator, and this is opportunity of a lifetime. GHA down in Sydney, out of Double Bay. Hi everyone at GHA, g'day Neil, g'day team. They're looking for investigators in Tasmania. You can be in Hobart or Launceston. If you work for GHA, you're at the top of your game. You'll be working for one of the biggest liability firms in Australia. They employ over 80 loss adjusters and lawyers. And I couldn't tell you the amount of investigators they employ. It's a lot. Really great office support at GHA. Absolutely fantastic place to work for. Highly recommended that you apply for that position at GHA. Also GHA, that's G Hughes and Associates, that's their name. You can see their website here. When you go to the this Facebook page, you'll be able to link to that website. They want an investigator in Sydney as well. So Tasmania and in Sydney. So really great opportunity to join GHA. Precise down in Melbourne are looking for factual investigators. Full-time roles and subcontract roles are available from Precise at the moment. So they're just some of the jobs that are available this week throughout Australia. You can start practically next week with MJM. They're looking for them. Don't forget, Quantum Corp are looking for investigators. I advertised for beginner investigators 2 weeks ago to work for Quantum Corp, and Quantum Corp will take you on board and they will induct you and bring you through the organisation. That was 2 weeks ago. They'll take on, if you contact them, get in touch, send them a resume, tell them your licence. So far, one person's applied. There's opportunities there with Quantum Corp, one of the great firms in Australia to work for doing factual investigations. Don't miss it, people. Really great team at Quantum Corp, really great people at Precise, really great people at GHA, really great people at Crawford and Co. These are wonderful opportunities for real investigators. This isn't Gumtree work, this is real investigation work, doing insurance investigation claims. Okay, so there's some of the vacancies this week. Casey, what have you got for us this week?
Okay, well, I thought I would do just a little bit of change of pace. Instead of talking about open source intelligence, I thought I might talk a little bit about operational security because, as we all know, Facebook last week announced that they were introducing Meta as their parent company, and we're moving even more online than ever before. I don't know if you've seen the ads for Meta, but they're incredible, and the metaverse is coming. And we tend to have more passwords online and in our digital world than we have locks in our house. So it's something that we really have to consider and really have to manage really well. So that is what I'm going to talk about today, is our operational security, which is passwords and password managers. And I know that it sounds like a really boring topic, and I know Mike always rolls his eyes at me whenever I talk about it. But if you check out this, I think it was funny that one of the jobs today was NAB looking for a digital fraud and scam investigator, because they were one of the one of the companies this year that was hacked. So these are the companies this year alone, and there was a massive list. I just chose these ones that have revealed some of your personal information and your passwords online. So Carnival Cruises, New South Wales and the Northern Territory and Tasmanian Health have revealed information on your passwords. The Western Australian Parliament, National Australia Bank, LinkedIn, Facebook and Microsoft. And that's just to name a few, and that is just this year. So it is really important when it comes to operational security, we're private investigators, we have sensitive information. When you receive a case from a case manager or an agency or a private client, you have sensitive information, and part of your operational security should be really strong passwords. So a really good thing to check, I know I've spoken about this on here before, I think, or maybe it was, might have been for a private one actually, but have I been pwned? You can type in your phone number, which is a new feature of them, or your email to see if your information has been exposed online, to see if that email or that phone number has been compromised in any of these leaks. So that is a fantastic resource to check out. So here we go. So what is a good password? Like, what is good operational security for a password? And so we've got no two passwords the same. So if you are exposed online through one of these companies that you've trusted with your personal information and your passwords, if that is exposed online, you've only used that password once in one area, and people that go onto the dark web and automatically snap up these hacks and buy these, they're not going to compromise any of your other accounts because you haven't used that password anywhere else online. You certainly don't want your password to contain any of your personal information. I don't know if you've seen on LinkedIn lately, but it's kind of been trending that Facebook and even LinkedIn, I've seen hackers put up they start these websites that are like retro websites and say, oh, what year, or put a GIF in the comments as to what year you were born, or what was your first dog's name, and pay tribute to them and things like that. They're just trying to get little tidbits of personal information from you, because most people in their passwords, they've got their dog's name, they've got their date of birth, they have their child's name, or the first house that they lived in, it's the first street that they lived in. So do not put any personal information in your passwords. Now, it's come out the strongest passwords are actually words with dashes, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and special characters. Now, that sounds really confusing, so I actually got some really interesting information, because this is what, up until a couple of months ago, most of my passwords looked like. And it was like that, the 4RT, the and sign, 7QX exclamation mark. So that looks like a really strong password, but it's actually not very strong. So if you look down below, But as
Can you hear me, Casey? You're experiencing technical issues. Do you want me to take over? Okay, people, I'll keep going with some things that I've got to discuss and just show you for today. A couple of other jobs that I didn't get to. This is a beauty with the Environmental Protection Agency down in Victoria. They're after an investigator for that. There's a couple of interesting ones for the people who like dead bodies. You can go and be an unrecovered war casualty investigator with the Department of Defence, or a victim identification specialist with the Victorian Police. So they're available at the moment. This is a good one. This is with the Department of Agriculture and Water Resources in Brisbane, and they want to pay you $118,000 a year plus super for that job. You're going to need one of these diplomas of government investigation for that. It's specified in the ad. So you use your diploma of government investigation to apply for that. I'll show you a close-up of it so you can see it, hopefully. That's what they want. It's got your name on it. So you use your diploma of government investigation to apply for that position vacant with the Department of Agriculture, Water Resources in Brisbane. Great opportunity there. So take full advantage of that one. Don't forget MJM, they've got vacancies all around Australia. So get in touch with MJM if you're licensed, they want to talk to you. And in the news this week, a couple of things happened in investigations this week that are very important that you should be aware of. Now, I tell everybody, don't trust someone just because they're a licensed private investigator that they're going to give you the right advice or they're a nice person. It's like thinking all doctors are nice people. All private investigators aren't. Here's one, it's a lawyer. This lawyer ripped a client off for $60,000 after they died. She overbilled them for 60 grand. So that deceased person trusted this lawyer, and she went to court and all sorts of drama with it. Tracy Ann Smith on the Gold Coast. So that's something that's happened recently. This one came up today. It was put up in one of the investigation groups on Facebook. A claimant living in such and such an area, which was explained before I cut this out, thinks I'm following them and doing surveillance on them. I don't even know what they look like, but they've been threatening myself and submitting letters and to my employer and causing grief. Now, this is a really, really common issue with surveillance. You're out doing surveillance and you are watching someone who's 3 blocks away, and 2 doors away from you is another claimant who's under surveillance, but they're a paranoid type person. This has happened to me, and it happened completely by accident. I told the police I was in that suburb and I'll be doing surveillance there, and the police took my license number, my registration number of my vehicle, description of the vehicle, and halfway through the morning a police car pulled up behind me. This is 4 hours into the surveillance job, the lights flashing, and which is never a good thing because it draws a lot of attention to you. And I sat in my vehicle. The policeman came over to me and said, "Mate, what are you doing surveillance on this guy in that house over there?" I said, "I'm not, mate." I said, "I told you I was here, right? I'm not parked 2 doors down from someone doing surveillance on them." He says, "Well, this guy works for some top secret defence department and you've been following him around this morning." Now, I only went one place, and it was probably a trip of 700 metres and back, where the person I was doing surveillance on went to get some fuel, and then I went back to my surveillance position. I said, "Mate, I'm not doing surveillance on some guy in this street. That would be ridiculous." And the cop said, "Yeah, well, okay, I'm just letting you know, so keep doing what you're doing. You're not doing anything wrong." He saw my licence, everything was okay. So the cop went away, and then about an hour later, this guy comes into this house, and he's got an Irish accent. And I'm parked in my vehicle in Tasmania in the middle of winter. Of course, I got the windows up and the doors locked. He's yelling at me outside the car, outside my vehicle, saying that I've got him under surveillance and he works for a secret government department. He's yelling it. If I work for a secret government department, why are you following me? And he's like jumping up and down because he was so short. I was towering over him sitting in the seat. And anyway, I just shook my head and I drove off. He was obviously disturbed, and it was only going to be making it worse if I sat there. So I went somewhere else, and basically, these things happen. When it happens to you, it's a real surprise at the time, but you must be prepared for it. In our AirLap meeting today, we were talking about solutions for all these sorts of things for our members and about getting the right advice. Because if you go to a random Facebook page and start asking for advice, it's not going to end well. So what you saw before in that thing with the blanked out phone number, when you're doing that and that happens to you and the person's acting like that, they're paranoid schizos, what you must do is get the recording function on your phone or your digital recorder and switch it on, make sure it's charged, and have it sitting beside you in the car for the whole time that you are on surveillance. Now, what will happen is the paranoid person will make up a whole bunch of lies about you. They'll say, he or she's been contacting my wife and following and filming my kids. That's a standard thing they say. They've been ringing them up and harassing them on the phone to find out where I am. They've been ringing me up and harassing them on the phone and constantly, and this has been going on. Now, they'll complain to the insurance company about that or to the corporation about that, and they'll say all that. Now, when you're confronted by who you're working for in relation to it, and you play them the recording of you sitting there silently from 4 a.m. in the morning till 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, not even making a phone call or receiving one, and you were supposed to have made 20 harassing phone calls on that day, it never happened. So your protection is in recording what you do, particularly if it involves ex-police in New South Wales. Probably the worst ones of the lot. Okay, Casey, you're back.
Yes, my apologies.
You're right.
I'm not sure where I went off, but did I manage to talk about the quantum computing?
You just started on it. That's it. Yep, okay, you're right where you were.
So perfect. So this password was considered strong until it's just kind of come out that for a quantum computer, it would only take 1.12 minutes. So 1 minute and 12 seconds, a quantum computer could easily crack that password. And so this is what we mean when we have words and dashes with upper and lower case and special characters. So this one, cartoon dash duck dash 14 dash coffee dash GLBS. This would take a quantum computer 8.04 100,000 trillion centuries to crack. So I don't know about you, but I don't intend on living that long, and I think that you're pretty safe even from quantum computing there. So that is why it's really important to have a password like this. And I can hear you saying, Casey, how am I supposed to come up with these random words and remember all of this stuff? A really good rule of thumb when it comes to operational security is that if you can remember your password, it is not strong enough. This is where a password manager comes in. And there are two different password managers that are generally recommended by the technology community. One is LastPass, which I hear is fantastic. You can do it for personal or business, and it's a password manager, so it stores all of your passwords, and it not only just stores them, it helps you generate passwords. So you click password generate, and it easily generates a really strong password for you. Or there is my personal favorite, which is what I use, is Bitwarden. So Bitwarden is fantastic. I've been using it for probably 2 years now. It's really inexpensive. I think it cost me $3 a month, but it's just so good. And you can also self-host Bitwarden. So you don't have to have it on their servers. If you're worried that your passwords are going to be exposed through them and you want to take your operational security to another level, especially as a business or enterprise, you can self-host your own Bitwarden, and you know that your passwords are safe. So that is really important. So don't forget, as investigators, we have an obligation to make sure that we have high levels of OPSEC and make sure that our information, our emails are not compromised, our Facebook accounts, our LinkedIn, all of that stuff you need to protect. It is really important that you protect it, and having strong passwords and making sure that a quantum computer can crack it in 800,000 trillion centuries, that's definitely the gold standard.
Fantastic, Casey. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. That was a very interesting departure, but had very good similarities to what you've been doing. So well done. You're going to stick around, or do you have to go?
I can stay now. My internet's working.
No worries. All right. So what I wanted to talk about next was, you'll often see, this one came up on LinkedIn this week, where you go to sites that provide a service where you either pay or it's free, and they charge the client a bidding service for investigation work. So what happens is the client with the investigation work puts out a request on that website, and you are a subscriber to it with insurance and checks and balances or whatever. What are they all about? What are the issues with it? Do I support them personally? How do they work? Here's one that came up on LinkedIn in one of our private investigator groups this week. Let's have a look. We ask questions is, what's the deal with the unified one-stop investigation collective sites that offer you the opportunity to bid for work in investigations, either locally, by state or federally, or internationally? So let's have a look at one that came up on LinkedIn this week in our Private Investigator Australia page. So these guys are a group of process servers, repossession agents and debt collectors, licensed security services, bodyguards, fugitive recovery agents, forensic something or other, connecting clients and agents worldwide. So this is their website. It's called Agent Hub Online. And effectively what you do is you are connected with clients, and you can make quotes in relation to work that comes through the website. Now, on the surface, it's a great idea. In Australia, it's fairly limited in Australia with low population, very large geography. But if you're in a concentrated area like London, New Delhi, New York, those sort of areas, you would thrive on this kind of website. So effectively, you've got to register with them. I think this one's a paid one. Other ones are free. You can sign up for free. Let's have a look at how it works. So, they're trying to convince clients out there that it might be agents charging too much, and so register with this organisation and you'll save $50 an hour on investigations or whatever. You can put your tenders up there, that sort of thing. That's on the left-hand side, and over on the right-hand side, they're trying to convince agents that they're spending too much money on advertising and generating business. And they're the solution to those two, connecting them both together. So effectively, that's their offer, what they do. We've already been through the services, but it's important we have a look at it. So they list their services on the website as well, all the sort of things they do. A lot of civil investigation there, but there is criminal investigation as well. Now, people ask me, what do you think personally about such websites? Well, anything that generates business for you in your business is going to be good. You don't ever dismiss it casually as a lack of opportunity. What you want to do is be connected with clients. Why I go to networking meetings throughout Australia continuously on a whole range of risk management, CTP liability or workers' compensation matters is it connects me with people face-to-face who might have a need for the services I offer in training, for example. So anything that connects you is good. The only issue that comes down to these type of community generating bidding type sites is the integrity of the owner, the connections of the owners, and who else is on there. So if they're farming all the work to one particular place and you're in there as a make up the numbers type organisation that never ever gets any work out of it, that's going to become pretty obvious to you very quickly within a 2-month period or something like that. Your prices have always been acceptable to clients. This isn't an auction system where it goes down to $10 an hour work. There's a quality expectation for professional support services in legal matters where we're professionally supporting work cover, the CTP liability insurer, TAC, no matter what it is. So if you're not winning any work and someone else seems to be winning all the work, they're being fed your prices by this type of organisation. So they can guarantee that they've got a risk management in place to prevent that, but it only takes one individual in them to go rogue and nobody else will get any work. So yes, certainly sign up for them, never pay for them. If they charge a fee for you to be a member for a year of $1,000 or something like that, just say thanks very much, I'll pass on this one. If it's free, sign up for it and just monitor it. You just don't know what may happen. How widely they promote themselves is very important because nobody will just go to their website as a client and say, okay, I'm open-ended to 500 investigations a year. What can you do for me? What will happen is they will have a sudden need for someone in Perth. They'll go to the website and advertise it then, or they'll have a sudden need for an investigator to do surveillance in Mackay. That's when they'll go there. It's when they have that emergency need that can't be met by their regular supplier. So this is where you pick up work by being there. You're there when they need you most, and after that first job, your relationship develops. So yes, these community collective type places do have opportunities for you. Watch the pricing and be very aware of them farming all the work to one competitor. Okay, I hope that was of interest. If you get the sniff of any member of one of those acting fraudulently in any one of their business lines, get out of it straight away because you will be associated with it. So leave straight away. Just disassociate yourself if you see that happening in the industry in which you are in one of those bidding websites. People, that's our program for this week. Thank you very much for coming in, Casey, and that was really interesting. Really enjoyed that. I'm going to go and change all my passwords into great big long duck coffee ones now, and that'll fill out my weekend. All right, we're going out in our usual way. I love this.
작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
Yes, every Friday afternoon, every investigation agency in Australia tells all their units, that's you and me, to go back to base and return because the operation is over. If you are a member of AirLap, you'll be receiving a link to a meeting that we held today. It was a half-an-hour meeting moving forward into 2022. We did a survey of our members this week. We've got some really good ideas to move forward with. So that will be coming through, to you so you can catch up. I mean, I like to act like I've got all the ideas in the world. I haven't. The ideas sent in by our members this week were great. So if you did send in those ideas, you'll see your idea on our list, and you'll see that we've proposed it. Now we're thinking about it and we're looking forward at moving forward. And if you are a member of AirLap, we'll see you on the first Friday in December for the last and third meeting of the year. That's Casey Pine and I. Finished for this week. We'll see you next Friday on SpyCurious. Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody.